When I woke up, I was told that I had been in a vegetative state for 5 years. When I had the car accident, it was the time when Victor was at his lowest ebb and loved me the most. Once I fell into a deep sleep, I became his eternal first love. Now that I've woken up, Victor has achieved success and fame. Then I seem to be a bit redundant. I looked at Victor at the end of the bed. His eyes were red as he murmured, "Alora." Upon hearing the news of my awakening, he directly interrupted the board meeting and rushed all the way to the hospital. I then looked at the little secretary at the door who was forcing a smile. I saw her lips that had lost all their color from being bitten. "Alora, do you remember me?" Victor cautiously reached out his hand, as if I were something fragile. I nodded and pointed to the door. "The girl at the door looks a lot like me. Is she my long-lost sister?" Victor's hand immediately froze. However, the girl hiding at the door took the initiative to stand out. She barely raised a smile. "Hello, Mrs. Victor. My name is Luna. I'm President Victor's secretary." At the end of her words, Luna finally couldn't hold back her sobbing voice. She covered her mouth and quickly ran out of the ward. "Luna!" Victor instinctively called out and raised his foot to chase after her, only to remember that I was still there. "It's okay. I might as well have written the word, magnanimous, on my face. There must be some serious work matters between you two. Go and chase after her." Victor stared at me. There was a complex storm in his black eyes. In the end, he still chased after her. Watching his receding figure, my heart gradually grew cold. I raised my hand and grabbed the little boy who was playing a game by the bedside. "But you're in trouble now. Are you the male lead who will force the female lead to have her kidney removed, have a miscarriage, and donate her cornea in the future?" My expression was ferocious. "Did your father raise you according to the criminal law?" The little boy whose ear I was twisting was as beautiful as a porcel and all. He slapped my hand away. "Old woman, I order you to let go." I was stunned for a moment first. Then I sneered, pulled out the needle tube, got out of bed, and grabbed a weapon. It's time for the hunting moment to begin. During the 5 years I was asleep, I only had one dream. In the dream, it was as if I was reading a novel. And my son Noah was the cold and ruthless domineering president male led in the novel. Because his mother died early and his father doted solely on his stepmother, Noah lacked love since he was a child. And his personality was twisted. He tortured the female led to death in the name of love, achieving a realistic version of chasing his wife to the crematorium. I cursed in my dream for 5 years. Probably because I cursed so harshly. I, who was supposed to die in my sleep in the novel, suddenly woke up. Comparing the time, there is still 1 year left before I die in the plot killing. I have a hunch that I can't break free from the established fate of the novel, and I will still receive the death scene I'm supposed to have. I let out a long sigh. Well, and I'll use this year to straighten out Noah as much as possible. It can be regarded as a gift from me, the mother-in-law, to the future female lead. So when Victor rushed back to the ward, what he saw was me with one hand on my hip and the other holding a shoe. Noah in the corner was sobbing, and as little but was covered with shoe prints. Victor stood at the door in a daze for 2 seconds. Seeing his father, Noah immediately held back his crying. He stubbornly turned his little face away. But the expectation in his eyes couldn't be hidden. He was expecting his father to save him from me. This crazy woman. But his expectation was in vain. Victor didn't even look at Noah. He walked straight over and picked me up in his arms like a princess. Victor carried me to the bed, his eyes full of tenderness and concern. "Alora, you've just woken up, and your body is still very weak. Just call a nurse if you need anything." In the corner, Noah's black eyes darkened little by little, and his little hand hanging by his side also clenched into a fist. "Tsk." I pushed Victor away and jumped out of bed, then picked Noah up in my arms. "I only want this." Noah's little body froze, and he looked up with a face full of disbelief. "Victor, is this how you treated my son in the past 5 years? You just ignored him like he didn't exist?" The more I spoke, the angrier I got. "Do you still have the nerve to pretend to be infatuated in front of me? You only enjoy the process of childbirth and don't take on the responsibility of childbirth. Right?" Victor was stunned. Not used to the fragile item, in his mind suddenly turning into a sharp object, attacking him. Mrs. Victor. Mrs. Victor. Don't say that. Just then, Luna rushed in with tears on her face. President Victor worked so hard for you and Noah. That's why he sometimes ignored Noah. But President Victor often drank until he had a gastric hemorrhage and worked overtime until late at night. I've seen all of this with my own eyes. She took a deep breath, as if mustering up her courage. Madam, the following words may offend you, but I still want to say it. In the past 5 years, it has been President Victor who has been struggling alone. And you have just been lying here easily. You still misunderstand President Victor like this. It's really disheartening. I raised my eyebrows. What a understanding flower, for men. Victor stared at Luna. There was surprise and gratitude in his eyes. As if for the first time he saw Luna's unique heart through her skin that resembled mine. As for me just lying here easily? I smiled. Luna. Guess why I had a car accident and became a vegetative state? Guess whose life I risked my life to save? Victor's face turned pale. And he lowered his eyes, as if feeling guilty. But Luna still didn't give up. She argued. But no matter what. It's been 5 years. Even if you saved President Victor, you can't keep morally binding him like this. How am I morally binding him? I was also tired. You don't think before you speak and have no logic at all. You're simply wasting my life. Nurse. Make this person get out. She's polluting the air around me. Alora. How can you? Victor frowned, not understanding when his gentle first love had turned into such a shrew. And I treated him the same way directly. Stop nagging. You get out too. Victor finally left. Although he didn't lose his temper when he left, his eyes were full of disappointment. I didn't care much either. I picked Noah up onto the bed and rubbed his head. Son. What game were you playing just now? Noah was extremely awkward from my diva blow, and then a sweet date approach. He took the opportunity to jump out of my embrace and picked up the game console. The Battle of Saint Woe. You can also play it on the computer. I said, oh. Is it fun? Noah's ears turned red, and he gave a haughty evaluation. It's just a pastime to kill time. Me. This kind of domineering president speech. He really deserves to be the male lead of the novel. But you're only 7 years old, aren't you? Starting to kill time from now on. Don't you think there's too much time to kill? Thinking like this, I pressed the call button and asked the nurse to bring me to high-configured computers. What are you going to do? Noah asked wearily. Like a little black cat with its fur standing on end. Kill time with you. I spread my hands. Your mom still needs to be hospitalized for observation for a while. We can't just stare at each other like this. Right? A nurse brought the computers and the mainframe. But there weren't enough sockets. Pull out the plug of my oxygenator. I waved my hand casually. No way. Noah instinctively stopped me. I couldn't help but feel gratified. This kid isn't completely heartless. Then I got out of bed and pulled out my own oxygenator with my own hands. Noah. Don't ask. It's just that the rebellious period of the old mother has arrived. After the game was installed, Noah directly logged in and continued to do his tasks, while I started to create an account under the novice guidance. In this large online game, called the Battle of Saint Woe, there are 3 major races: humans, demons, and demons. Humans can cultivate immortality at a high level or fall into devil or Y at a low level. There are hundreds of occupations to choose from in both the demon and demon races. I was dazzled by the choices and asked for advice. Son. What kind of character are you? That's not called kind. Noah stared at the screen. His expression focused. At that moment, I actually saw the word handsome on the face of a 7-year-old child. He said, I'm a demon. And my occupation is a chariot. You're a car? I was surprised. Noah rolled his eyes irritably. It's not a real car. It's the chariot in Chinese chess. It's the most powerful combat force. Wow. So cool. While praising him, I gave him a flick on the head. Don't roll your eyes casually when you talk to people. It's impolite. What are you doing? Noah covered his head and turned around. When his hand left the keyboard, The chariot he was controlling was immediately killed by the monster. Noah pursed his lips, looking angry but not daring to speak. "Sorry. I won't hit you again when you're in a battle in the future." I immediately apologized and added, "I'll settle the score with you after the battle is over." Probably because he had never been tired about his feelings like this before. Noah was stunned for a while. He turned his head and responded awkwardly, "It's okay. In the end, I still chose the human race, which looked the most unassuming on the outside, and planned to take the path of cultivating immortality and the healing system." Just as I entered the novice village and completed a task, before I had time to give the prey to the village chief, I was sneak attacked by a level 7 player with the nickname Novice Butcher. Gave over, looking at the screen covered in blood red. I couldn't help but let out a scream. "What's wrong?" Noah was startled by my scream. I saw that the Novice Butcher on the screen picked up the prey that dropped from my character's body, and even made a hot dance move to taunt me. I was so angry, and I furiously clicked the resurrection button. I was intercepted in the novice village. And he's still dancing next to my body. Noah didn't say anything after hearing this. When I got through the resurrection period, I saw a huge demon creature madly chasing and killing the novice butcher, landing critical hits with every move and even squatting at the resurrection point. It killed the novice butcher until he dropped to level 1. Only then did the level 59 demon named Invisible Man leave his body and walk up to me. The line of words appeared on his huge demon horn, "Invisible Man, go and dance." At first, I didn't react. It was only when I saw the Invisible Man go to the novice butcher's body and do a hot dance to taunt him that I realized what was going on. I was dumbfounded. I slowly turned my head to look at Noah beside me, who had a serious little face, and then slowly gave him a thumbs up. "Awesome. You really deserve to be the male lead." I suddenly understood why the female lead refused to leave Noah even though she was tortured to death. Some charming talents are really inborn. Because I was really bad at the game, Noah simply took me to do the tasks. And in my repeated praises of Son, "You're so great," and "Son, you're so handsome," he gradually lost himself. And the small curve at the corner of his mouth couldn't be suppressed. After a whole day, with Noah's chariot paving the way, I effortlessly reached level 9. When Noah was helping me kill monsters, I concentrated on refining pills. And as a result, my pill refining skill also reached level 4. But I still thought it was too slow. So, with a wave of my hand, I recklessly spent a large amount of money and replaced the in-game characters of both Noah and me with top-notch paid equipment from head to toe. What a joke. I may be a bit short on luck and fate, but I've never been short on money. Victor's startup capital all came from my dowry. And Victor's connections also came from my family of origin. Since I can give it, I can definitely take it back. The reason why I didn't divorce Victor immediately was that I wanted to leave all of this undivided family property to Noah. So, no matter whether that little secretary named Luna is truly infatuated or harboring the ambition to reap the rewards without effort, she has made a wrong calculation. Just as I was slightly distracted, the computer screen in front of me was once again covered in blood red, and I was killed by someone again. Except that my paid equipment wasn't taken away. All the pills I had painstakingly refined throughout the day were picked up by those 3 demon clan members. "Old hag, what are you spacing out for?" Noah was helping me with a quest. When he turned around and found that I had been killed, his tone became harsh. "First of all, I'm your mother, not an old hag. If you don't want to call me mother, you can call me sister or Alora. Respect is the prerequisite for communication," I said calmly. "Secondly, you owe me some chestnuts." Noah came to avenge me. Those 3 demon clan members didn't expect that I had such a powerful bodyguard. They were no match for Noah at all. They quickly opened a private chat to beg for mercy, saying that they would return my pills. But Noah completely ignored their pleas for mercy. He still attacked quickly and fiercely. And every move was a brutal killing. I noticed that Noah especially liked to use a powerful move called Bloodthirsty Claw. He would throw his opponent into the air and then tear them apart. The blood and flesh would burst apart like fireworks. And the scene was both bloody and extremely impactful. I turned my head to look at Noah and saw that his mouth was straight. His eyes were clear. And his operation was decisive without the slightest bit of mercy or hesitation. This child is too calm. Or rather, he lacks the ability to empathize. I didn't stop him immediately. Instead, I stared at Noah until he was satisfied with his killing. Probably because my gaze was too noticeable. Noah didn't completely defeat the three of them this time. After those three demon clan members were resurrected, they threw down the words "bitch. You wait for me. I'll find the guild to take you down." And then teleported away. I hadn't fully understood the game yet. So I asked Noah, "What is a guild?" Noah's little face darkened. "It's a small group. You can apply to join a guild when you reach level 10 or above. Those people just now were from the Holy Fighting Army. That guild was just established not long ago. But the guild master is very powerful. So it has grown rapidly. That means we've gotten ourselves into big trouble." I understood. "So, son, have you joined any guild?" "No." Noah showed a look of disdain. "Those mediocre people aren't worthy." It does seem a bit out of place for a primary school student to say such a thing. But considering that he is the male lead who will one day be able to do things like stealing kidneys and hearts without breaking the law, everything seems reasonable. Thinking that I was silent because I was scared, Noah added awkwardly, "Don't be afraid. Generally, hadn't fulfilled my obsession. The guild master is very busy, and doesn't have the time to help people get revenge for personal grudges. Unless, having fulfilled my obsession, the guild master encountered something unpleasant today and was in need of an outlet to vent his anger." I looked at the guild master of the immortal human race named King Zhao Yang Chen, and the demon clan White Fox named Wen Yi Zhao beside him, and fell into a brief moment of contemplation. This is clearly Victor and Luna. Goodness, hadn't fulfilled my obsession. The world is really small. Are we going to have a confrontation online right after having a showdown in reality? King Zhao Yang Chen, so Achivu defeated the members of our Holy Fighting Army? I was drinking water at that moment. Just thinking of Victor saying such cheesy and childish words with that face of his. I couldn't help but spit out the water. Wen Yi Zhao, you guys are too much. A level 59 player is bullying a few level 13 players. Noah tapped on the keyboard infuriately. Invisible man, oh. So what? I wiped the water from the corner of my mouth and glanced at Noah out of the corner of my eye. He didn't seem to have realized yet that this loving couple in front of him was his biological father and his future stepmother. After thinking about it, I didn't expose the truth. I just took another sip of water. The cup wall hit my teeth, and the echo rang clearly in my mind. 5 years ago was when Victor loved me the most. And also when I loved Victor the most. At that time, I was completely crazy in love with him. I loved his appearance, his talent, his soul, and his devout and passionate love for me. So, when that out-of-control car came crashing towards us, my first reaction was to push him away. I pushed him away, and then fell into a deep sleep. In the dream from which I couldn't wake up, I watched helplessly as he got entangled with the so-called substitute, and eventually became a couple. Did I love him? I did. Did I hate him? I did. But no matter how much love or hate there was, 5 years was enough to wear it all away. My heart is calm now. Incredibly calm. It's as calm as a lake that freezes over on a winter night. Not even a ripple can be stirred up no matter how the wind blows and the clouds roll in the sky. Only Noah. He is like a little fish at the bottom of my lake. I don't regret bringing him into this world, and I want to accompany him for a longer journey in my limited life. Feeling creeped out by my stare, Noah frowned tightly, and his black eyes glanced at me, and then looked away. Old Alora, don't keep peeking at me. When they start attacking, you run. Got it? I replied with an, oh. Victor's half-immortal character is level 74. And even Luna's fox demon character is level 36. I don't think I can run away. Sure enough, as soon as the fight started, Victor and Luna cooperated seamlessly. Victor's killing move was directly aimed at Noah, while Luna immediately cut off my escape route. However, Noah and I had an even better understanding. Noah forcefully endured one of Victor's attacks. Ignoring Luna's attack, I quickly threw pills to Noah to restore his health. At the same time, Noah made a dodge and followed with 3 consecutive moves. directly killing Luna in an instant. The situation immediately became a 2-versus-1 battle. Victor was obviously taken aback. Then he used a move to send my character with low health points away, achieving a somewhat face-saving exchange. I turned into a corpse in front of Noah. And Noah didn't show the slightest bit of emotion. He just took medicine to heal himself. In front of the screen. His pair of black eyes were clear and he was extremely calm. The real battle had begun. A level 70 for Victor should have easily overpowered Noah, who was level 59. However, Noah brought the advantages of the demon race to the extreme. His moves were unconventional, swift, and cunning. Even with low health points, he was able to hold out against Victor for half an hour. Since I was lying there as a corpse, I simply asked the nurse to bring some snacks. I munched on sunflower seeds and kept exclaiming how wonderful the battle was. Of course, the level gap between the two of them was obvious. And in the end, a miracle didn't happen. Noah was killed by Victor. The huge demon race corpse lay in front of the celestial-like human race character like a small black hill. The wordless deterrents rushed towards us through the screen. After watching this father-son battle, I didn't forget to interview Noah about his feelings after the battle. Son, what out a low sorry. What do you think of the strength of that person named King Zale Young Chen? Noah withdrew his hand from the keyboard and said expressionlessly. Average. Perfect. I was very pleased with Noah's filial piety towards his father. I fed Noah a handful of sunflower seeds. Then what about your mother? Me? Extremely bad. Noah tried to dodge my feeding. But I still stuffed a mouthful of sunflower seeds into his mouth with a smile, cutting off his remarks about being a filial son. Many onlookers had already gathered when Victor led people over to demand an explanation. Now that Victor had killed Noah, the members of the Holy Fighting Army cheered one after another, and flattered him by saying things like, "The Guildmaster is mighty." Those 3 demon clan members earlier even shouted wildly, asking Victor to completely defeat Noah and me. But Victor didn't take action. To everyone's surprise, he first waited for Noah to be resurrected and then extended an olive branch. King Zale Yong Chen, you have some skills. Why don't you join our holy fighting army? I'll let go of the fact that you defeated my subordinates before. And I'll also bring your talents to full play in the holy fighting army. I raised my eyebrows. With Victor's magnanimity and vision, it's no wonder that he was able to transform from Victor into President Victor within 5 years. Noah had his cheeks full of sunflower seeds. Without thinking, he typed out a reply. Invisible man, no. Noah's refusal immediately aroused public anger. The members of the Holy Fighting Army cursed Noah for not knowing what was good for him. He was just a loser to their guild master. Yet he dared to reject the invitation of the Holy Fighting Army? Seeing that the atmosphere was about to become tense again, Luna stepped in to mediate in a timely manner. She walked towards my in-game character, Wen Yishao, this sister. I can see that you're probably a newbie too. Would you like to join our Holy Fighting Army? If you choose the Immortal Cultivation Healing path, our guild will provide free medicinal herbs and resources for you. Cute smile. System, player, Wen Yishao invites you to join the guild Holy Fighting Army. Do you agree? When this invitation popped up on the screen, I was holding a large handful of sunflower seeds in my hand. I didn't want to put them down, so I simply used my little finger to operate the mouse. Click, agree. System, player Zio has joined the guild Holy Fighting Army. Noah swallowed the sunflower seeds and frowned as he looked at me. If you clicked by mistake, what out a low sigh. You can apply to lead the guild. I didn't click by mistake. I fed out the sunflower seeds in my hand again. Clapped my hands. Medicinal herbs are very difficult to collect. Since you can get them for free once you join the guild, why not join? Moreover, after joining the guild, I can keep up with the latest developments of the unspoken stories between the overbearing president and his pretty little secretary at the first scene. How exciting is that? I silently swallowed the latter part of this sentence and smiled sarcastically. Because as soon as I joined the guild, I saw a new line of golden text appear above Luna's head, Guild Master's wife. When I looked at the Guild Master, above Victor's head, I couldn't help but feel that there should be something green on my head to match the situation. Luna twisted her graceful fox demon figure and made a friendly gesture towards me. When Yi Zhao Guildmaster's wife, welcome to our big family winked, she even called it, our big family. Her ambitious intentions were really obvious. I tapped on the keyboard. Ziyu, 6, Noah, who was munching on sunflower seeds like a little hamster beside me, suddenly choked. Finally, heading fulfilledly. He understood why I named my character Ziyu. Because everything that Ziyu says is right. Luna on the other side of the game seemed to be taken aback as well. She then turned towards Noah. When Yi Zhao, brother invisible man. Look. Your girlfriend has already joined the holy fighting army. Why don't you join us too? Heart gesture, faft. Cough. 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 This time. It was my turn to be choked. Invisible man. Brother? Let Noah go. He's only 7 years old. I don't know if it was because of Luna's calling him brother, or that cute little gesture of making a heart shape with her hands that made him jealous. But Victor made a gesture as if to hold Luna's hand. King Zelian Chen, just forget it. Since he doesn't want to join the holy battle army. You don't have to beg him so humbly. Huh. So you're already feeling reluctant? Ziyu, excuse me. Are you two a couple in real life? When I asked this, someone from the holy battle army beside us answered eagerly. Layla, no. Both our president and the president's wife are in their first online relationship. It's really like a puppy love between primary school students. Gosh. They're so sweet every day that it's killing me. Zhi Huyu, welcome to join our holy battle army. There's plenty of lovey-dovey stuff here to stuff you until you're full with a dog head emoji. Sal Gsou, I heard that our president is actually a big CEO in real life. It's really like the story of the domineering CEO falls in love with me, coming to life. I'm so obsessed with it with Aludim Oji. Luna seemed a bit embarrassed by everyone's teasing. She took the initiative to let go of Victor's hand and stepped back a bit. When Yi Zhao, it's not like that. King Jej and I got married at first just because of the system rewards. We haven't officially met offline yet. With a gesture of touching her fingers. And Victor just silently moved closer to Luna again. He didn't say anything from beginning to end. Which was kind of like a tacit admission. Goodness. The amount of information here is so overwhelming that it's almost burning out my brain CPU. That is to say, Victor and Luna in the game don't know each other's real identities? King Zelian Chen is Victor. Victor. When Yi Zhao is Wen Xiao. Luna, are these two people really that stupid or just pretending? Can't they see it's so obvious? I pointed at the screen in disbelief. Son, Wajaj de Sun. Take a closer look at their nicknames. Do you recognize who they are? Noah frowned and looked at them for a while. Then said impatiently, there are so many people playing this game. How would I know just any two random people? I suddenly felt relieved. Even Noah, the little male lead, can't detect it. This is probably some kind of irresistible force of the plot. It's just that if Victor finds Luna as a substitute, in real life, and it's obvious that they have developed feelings for each other. And then in the game, Victor and Luna turn their fake relationship into a real one. And they treat each other as strangers on the internet to flirt. Let me think it through. How many corners does this love triangle have? A pink mushroom, hey, having fulfilled my sigh. I just saw that the official seems to be organizing an offline meetup. Won't they be able to meet then? With a funny emoji. Yang Suqie, yeah. Then I can ship the president and the president's wife's offline CP. I immediately went online to confirm. This large-scale meetup organized by the official of the Battle of St. Woe is next month. And the location isn't far by car. Raylai, let's go. Let's go. Even if it's raining knives. I'll go. The president and the president's wife must come too. The CPI ship is finally going from an online relationship to an offline one. Woo. Let Victor and Luna meet offline? Is there really such a good thing? Faft. I mean a good thing. With the mentality of not being afraid of big trouble while watching the fun. I immediately opened my mouth to encourage them. Ziyu, if the president and the president's wife both come to the meetup, I'll let Invisible Man join the Holy Battle Army. Invisible Man. Noah typed a question mark and turned to look at me. Looking fierce, why use me as a bargaining chip? I couldn't help but reach out and rub his chubby baby face, AWW. Because you're cute. Noah blushed, pursed his lips, and turned his head away. His fingers reluctantly tapped on the keyboard. Invisible man, do as she said. This was also giving Victor a way out. Victor finally spoke up and agreed to participate in the offline meetup activity. Luna then also stated that she would attend on time. So Noah agreed to the invitation sent by Victor and officially joined his father's holy battle army. Everyone has witnessed Noah's strength. His joining injected a super powerful combat force into the holy battle army. The 3 demon race members who had been shouting for revenge knew they were in the wrong and sensibly fell silent. The atmosphere in the guild was harmonious and joyful for a while. Everyone was looking forward to the offline meetup next month, eager to see what their teammates, who had fought side by side with them, looked like. I watched as everyone flattered Victor and Luna. They kept calling Luna president's wife one after another. The corners of my mouth couldn't help but curl into a smile. It was a simple smile, without even bothering to mix in any sarcasm. When Noah saw me smiling, he suddenly seemed a bit unhappy. You seem to care a lot about those two. Yeah, I admitted generously. It's like watching a joke. And it's a serialized one at that. What's so interesting about people who are full of love and affection? Noah hummed and turned his head away. His voice very soft. You might as well look at me more than them. Huh? What did you say? I deliberately made a gesture as if I didn't hear clearly. Look at who more? Nobody. Noah looked ashamed and annoyed and got up to leave. I used the move of monkey fishing for the moon, to pull him into my arms and reached out to tickle his waist. GGG. You have to make it clear. Otherwise I won't let you go. Noah stiffened at first, then couldn't hold it in anymore. He tried his best to maintain his haughty little face but failed. He wriggled around and laughed until tears came out. I said, I'll say it. I stopped then, still holding him under his armpits with both hands to prevent him from running away by playing tricks. Speak. Noah was panting heavily, his face as red as a little tomato. You. Instead of looking at them more, you might as well look at me more. I'm your son after all. At the end, Noah simply closed his eyes, looking as if he was so ashamed and angry that he didn't care what happened to him. I couldn't help but smile sincerely and leaned over to kiss his forehead. That's right. Don't speak words about love in a low voice. And don't hold them in your heart. Think about it. If you didn't say it today and I suddenly died tomorrow, wouldn't you feel very regretful? Just realizing what the touch on his forehead was. Noah's ears just started to feel hot when he heard my unlucky words later. He immediately glared at me and said, Shut up. I curled my knuckles and gave him 2 flicks on the head. One was owed before, plus this one now. Will these 2 flicks make you remember to speak properly? But Noah ignored the pain on his head and stubbornly glared at me. I won't allow you to say such things. You won't die. What silly words are these? I couldn't help but laugh. Your mom is a human being. Humans will die. This is the law of nature. But Noah straightened his body, clenched his little fists, and for the first time threw a childish tantrum. I don't care. You're not allowed to die. I was taken aback. I knew I had gone too far with my previous metaphor and scared Noah. This child who had just gotten rid of his loneliness. Okay. I stretched out my little finger and softened my voice. I promise you that I definitely won't die this year. People are fragile. But at the same time, they are also very tenacious. Let's pinky swear. Noah's eyes were slightly red. He mumbled childish, but still hooked his little finger with mine. Pinky swear. Never change for 100 years. Wait. Why is it only for 1 year? Noah realized it later and held my finger tightly. I rubbed his head hard with my other hand, making his soft black hair look like a chicken coop. Because your mom's magic is limited. Currently, heading fastelbwad sai. I can only predict for 1 year. As for after 1 year, maybe by then your mom's magic will become stronger and I can predict for 100 years. Magic indeed. You're just lying to children. Noah then let go to fix his hair. Although he was complaining, there was finally a smile on his lips. A month passed quickly while we were playing the game. During this period, Victor came to visit me several times. But I asked the nurse to turn him away. He thought I was secretly feeling sad in the room and was angry with him. Little did he know that I was actually having a great time playing games with Noah in the room. Having been snubbed by his so-called first love, Victor had to transfer his unplaceable infatuation to the game. 2. Wen Yi Zhao, in the game, who was gentle, considerate, and didn't require any responsibility. With one willing and the other reciprocating. The flirtatious relationship between the two quickly escalated. It had really reached the point where even a passing dog would leave with a burp. Sometimes I would take screenshots as evidence. But most of the time I still found it too eye-catching and walked away, focusing on refining pills, leveling up, and spending money lavishly. Soon, without a low sorry, using my money power, I raised my level to 16 and even became the first person in the whole server to reach the full level of the pill refining skill. Many rare pills could only be successfully refined by me. For this reason, some people were even willing to pay real money to buy them from me. And quite a few people had the evil idea of robbing and killing me for my goods. After a dozen or so early birds died one after another, everyone knew that the alchemy master named Juryu was always accompanied by a level 90 for demon named Invisible Man, who was ruthless and vengeful. As long as you dare to touch Juryu, that invisible man can chase you all over the server like a mad dog. Thanks to this, using force first and then courtesy, approach, the Holy Battle Army I was in also expanded rapidly. A number of members soared from several hundred to over 1,000, making it a large guild ranked at the top of the list. People all admire the strong. Coupled with my unrestrained spending of money, my status in the guild was obviously on the rise, threatening to surpass Luna, the president's wife. Luna also seemed to have a sense of crisis and tried to find me for a chat several times. But I refused. After all, I had already talked to her in real life and knew that nothing good would come out of her mouth which claimed to be just. I didn't want to waste my happy game time. However, one day, just as I woke up from my afternoon nap, I saw Noah on the other side staring at the computer screen with a fierce expression. I lazily yawned and got out of bed. What's wrong? Stuck on a level again? Because I think there's a high chance that I can only live for 1 year. I still haven't told my parents and younger brother, who are far away in Hong Kong, about my awakening. I don't want to disrupt their lives, which have finally gotten rid of their grief. And for some reason, Victor also hasn't announced the news of my awakening. So the Mrs. President Victor, in the public eye, is still a vegetative patient lying in a private hospital, living in people's filtered perception like a sleeping beauty. In fact, the real me had already moved out of the hospital, bought a finely decorated villa, and directly moved in with Noah, bringing only our bags. Then I decorated the bedroom into an esports room. And since then, I've been living a shameless life with the game. Of course, the little Noah still has to go to school. In terms of self-discipline, this little male protagonist has never required me to worry about him. When Noah is at school, I hire top-notch power levelers to take care of his game account. Today is the weekend, which is why Noah is at home. I leaned over to look at Noah's computer screen. Noah tried to block it, but I pushed his hand away. On the official forum of the Battle of St. Woe, there was a wildly popular post with a terrifyingly large title shocking: "The goddess turns into a bitch. The pill-making master Zu turns out to be a shameless mistress." My drowsiness vanished instantly. A mistress? Who? Me? Noah clicked his tongue in annoyance and tried to cover my eyes. It's all slander from some scumbags. There's nothing worth looking at. I know. I grabbed his hand. But knowing your enemy and yourself ensures victory in every battle. Your mother isn't that fragile. Noah pursed his lips and remained silent. I scrolled the mouse and quickly skimmed through the post. The post was very long, with pictures as evidence, and the statements were highly guiding and inflammatory. In summary, the content claimed that after I joined the Holy Fighting Army, I had been secretly seducing the guild master, King Zhao Yang Chen, and relying on my power and influence, I took the lead in isolating the legitimate guild master's wife, Wen Yi Zhao. The accompanying picture was of me publicly rejecting Luna's chat request. Luna's in-game character happened to be lowering her head and drooping her ears, looking extremely helpless and pitiful. When I scrolled down to read the comments, The incited onlookers overwhelmingly sympathized with when Yi Xiao and cursed at me. Many people called me a slut. Said I was lustful. That I would throw myself at any man I saw. And even said that the money I spent on in-game purchases might have been obtained through sleeping with others. In short, the insults were as harsh as they could be. Noah couldn't stand it anymore. He reached out and closed the web page. He lowered his eyes, bit his lip, and remained extremely silent. My heart softened. I squatted down to look Noah in the eye. Let me guess. You're thinking that you failed to protect me. And you feel angry and guilty? If it were the former Noah, he would definitely remain silent to the end. He would rather keep his thoughts to himself than speak them out. But after a month of my patient guidance, Noah gradually dared to reveal his inner feelings. So he slowly nodded. Once he started expressing his feelings, Noah's eyes couldn't help but turn red. He was unwilling and, more importantly, felt wronged. Wronged for me. And also for his inability to immediately come up with a way to help me get rid of this injustice. No matter how talented Noah was, he was still just a child after all. I rubbed his head to encourage his honesty and asked Noah to look into my eyes. It's good to have the heart to cherish others. And it's even better to want to protect the important people. But you also need to know that I'm not a vase. I have my own abilities. You can trust me. More than your self-blame. I need your trust. Noah listened blankly and then nodded firmly. I smiled with relief. Son. Enduring for a moment may lead to ovarian cysts. And taking a step back may cause breast hyperplasia. Do you know what the most powerful way to slap someone in the face is? Noah shook his head in confusion. The most powerful way to slap someone in the face is when you don't quarrel, don't make a scene, and don't use violence. You just stand there gracefully. And everyone will help you teach the other person a lesson. Although the post was artificially deleted less than 2 hours after it was posted, the number of views had reached tens of millions before deletion. Almost everyone who came to the Battle of St. Wo meet and greet the next day knew about it. The official team at the Battle of St. Wo was quite creative. They customized exclusive headbands for all the players present. Each headband had a shining nameplate on it, displaying their respective nicknames just like the characters in the game. Therefore, when the crowd saw Luna, whose headband read, when Yi Xiao, appear, everyone gave her, the guildmaster's wife, warm sympathy and greetings. In addition, Luna's fox demon character in the game had a curvy and charming figure, while she herself was pure and lovely, exuding an endearing student-like aura. With this contrast, all the male players in the audience couldn't take their eyes off her. When Victor, the CEO of Gang Trading Group, made his entrance, everyone's eyes simultaneously landed on the 4 characters King Zhao Yum Chen on his head, and the whole venue erupted into screams, pushing the atmosphere to an even higher climax. In the midst of the screams, Victor's eyes were only on Luna. The two of them looked into each other's eyes and saw the nicknames on each other's heads at the same time. In that instant, there was surprise, understanding, and a deep-seated affection that rushed into the whirlpool of their hearts. So it's you. It's actually you. She resembles King, having fulfilled wide session. And she surpasses King. The two couldn't help but smile at each other, as if their souls had already embraced tightly. After the initial shock and screams, the people around started whispering frantically. What kind of fairy tale love is this? It's like a CEO novel coming to life. I'm going crazy for it. But I heard that President Victor comes from a wealthy family. His wife is said to be a young lady with a very powerful background. I remember his wife was in a car accident and became a vegetative state. It's been several years now. She either died or they must have divorced long ago. I know. His wife's name is Alora. Before the accident, she was called the young lady by netizens. I've seen her photos. She looks a bit like when Yi Xiao but has more temperament. What a pity for such a beautiful woman. Well, there's nothing you can do about it. She's been a vegetative state. You can't stop someone from moving on to a better person. Right? Since all mobile phones were confiscated by the official team, the crowd couldn't verify the information online or take photos. So you can imagine that just when Victor and Luna were being sweet and the crowd was in a frenzy, wearing a headband with the name Shariu, and Noah, wearing a headband with the name Invisible Man, made our grand entrance as the finale. With just one look, the entire venue was like a bomb had been dropped. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. What the hell? The Invisible Man, who kicked my ass, is just a primary school student. Wait a minute. Isn't that the young lady? If she's you. And the real mistress is actually. Amidst the intense commotion, I squinted my eyes and looked past the crowd at Victor's instantly pale face. He looked even more terrified than if he had encountered a ghost in the middle of the night. As for Luna, she was so scared that she fell to her knees. The people around immediately scattered as if avoiding a plague, leaving her kneeling awkwardly in the middle. I smiled and turned to ask Noah. Well, is it satisfying to slap them in the face in such a civilized way? Noah snorted haughtily. Just so. Alora. Listen to my explanation. Victor's face was bloodless. He reached out his trembling hand, trying to get closer to me, and his steps were unsteady. Just then, Luna, who was kneeling on the ground, suddenly vomited with a loud retching sound. She vomited profusely and instinctively covered her stomach with both hands. Everyone present was an adult. Of course, Noah was an exception. But even Noah, at such a young age, could immediately see what was going on. She's pregnant, Noah announced coldly. I raised my eyebrows and glanced at Victor, who was dumbfounded. Is this your explanation? Victor's eyes were unfocused. And finally, he fell to the ground with a thud, completely losing his spirit. TSK, having Pulselware session. It's so disgusting. I wrinkled my nose, took Noah's hand, and started walking back. Come on. Mom will take you to the amusement park. You're so childish. Noah didn't even look at Victor. He no longer had the slightest expectation of this so-called father, and just tightened his grip on my hand. I'll reluctantly accompany you to play. Noah and I had a crazy day at the amusement park. The next day, when I woke up, my whole body was sore. I walked towards the living room in my pajamas, rubbing my sleepy eyes. Luna was sitting there, having been waiting for 2 hours since I summoned her. As soon as I entered the living room, Luna, who was already sitting up straight, became even more tense. Like a sturdy little grass that was not afraid of the cold, I lazily lay down on the sofa, and the maid brought over a cup of black tea at the right temperature. I sipped the black tea slowly and clearly saw Luna's Adam's apple bobbing up and down as she swallowed, even though she hadn't taken a sip of water for the past 2 hours. I put down the teacup, took out the checkbook, wrote and drew on it with a pen, then tore off the check and slapped it on the table with a snap. Luna, abaksa, as if she had been waiting for this moment, pounced on the check on the table like a hungry tiger and tore it to pieces with great satisfaction. Give up. No matter how much money you give me, I won't leave Victor. The love between Victor and me can't be measured by money. Luna proudly puffed out her chest. I'm not like you. I've never cared about Victor's money. I love his soul. We're true soulmates. I let out an ow, and then ate a piece of the snack that the maid brought over. Stimulated by my indifferent attitude, Luna covered her stomach with one hand, and her eyes turned red. I know you're just pretending not to care. You love Victor, but even in the game, Victor and I are attracted to each other's souls. The person Victor truly loves is me. You can't get his love, and you're just jealous of me. Luna, looking like a Victor, stepped on the shredded check on the ground and laughed triumphantly. You wanted to humiliate me with dirty money and force me and the baby in my belly to leave Victor. But you're dreaming. I, Luna, am not like you. I won't be swayed by money. Even if Victor were a beggar, I would still love him. I swallowed the small cake and was quite speechless. No. You're overthinking it. Why would I give you money? Take a look at what's written on the check yourself. Luna was stunned. With a strange expression, she looked down at the check at her feet, on the messy pieces of the check. For words could clearly be pieced together, relying on nonsense. Luna's face turned green instantly, as if she had really stepped in a pile of excrement. Just then, Noah walked in wearing a small apron, carrying a plate of freshly baked cookies. He sighed helplessly. Alora. You're so childish. I clapped my hands. Went over. And picked out a cookie that wasn't burnt. All right. Anyway, having fulfilled my obsession, you won't listen to what I say. Let your soulmate tell you himself. After saying that, I fully pushed open the half-closed door, revealing Victor outside, who looked as if he had aged 10 years overnight. When Luna saw Victor, she was first surprised, and then there was a mix of joy and shyness on her face. After all, although she had been emotional just now, she hadn't said a single wrong word. In fact, it could even be considered a passionate confession in another way. However, Victor didn't look at her. He just stared at me pleadingly. Alora. I was really drunk that night. I thought she was you. I picked out another small burnt cookie and stuffed it into Victor's mouth. Shut up. I will keep freezing the funds of you gang until this mess is resolved properly. Victor dared neither spit out the piece of charred cookie nor swallow it. Finally, having fulfilledly, he remembered that he had a biological son he could turn to for help and mumbled indistinctly, Noah. But Noah interrupted him coldly. This family doesn't need an illegitimate child. If you can't solve this problem, then this family doesn't need a father either. These words were so cool. I couldn't help but applaud Noah. As if struck a heavy blow, Victor's body trembled. His face turned red. And he seemed to feel angry and unwilling. In the end, he only felt heartbroken and desperate. The man who used to be so confident and shining was now as dejected as a fallen leaf in the autumn wind. I didn't bother watching his performance and directly gave an order. Victor. I'm taking our son to the household registration center to change his surname now. When we come back, if you've handled this matter well, I'll consider keeping you in your gang. Upon hearing this, Victor's eyes lit up instantly, shining like those of a dog wagging its tail and begging for mercy. He resolutely rushed into the house, towards Luna who was still indulging in self-pity, and stepped on the pile of broken checks almost savagely. From a distance, my loud laughter could be heard. It's nothing. I'm just fairly laughing at everyone who steps on something as bad as that. As the mother of the male lead who was supposed to die at the beginning of the story, my name obviously seems to be casually given by the novel author. But at least I like this surname. Noah changed his name to Noah from then on. And he has an even stronger air of a domineering president. Before this, I always thought Luna was scheming. After all, she self-directed and self-acted that rumor-mongering post. It turned out that she had known for a long time that Victor was playing the Battle of St. Woe. So she specially created an account and pretended to encounter Victor by chance in the game. And I originally thought Luna had the intention of reaping without sowing by getting married. But unexpectedly, she was really a person completely controlled by her infatuation with love. Luna earnestly begged Victor to resign and elope with her, saying that she was willing to marry him even if he became a beggar. Noah and I watched the surveillance footage in the room together. When we saw Luna happily describing the future of you begging and me holding the bowl, Victor's expression was so ugly that he looked as if he had eaten shit. And I also thought that Victor, with his first love on one hand and his beloved on the other, must have been torn apart by his feelings. But Victor didn't hesitate. He half coaxed and half forced Luna to go to the hospital to have an abortion. I turned off the surveillance and closed my eyes, feeling an intense wave of drowsiness for no reason. It was like the ice on the lake cracking, and the chill in the clouds seeping in, freezing the sadness even deeper. Just then, a warm touch covered the back of my hand. Mom. Noah looked at me uneasily. He held the back of my hand, opened his mouth, and called me in a way that was so nervous and unfamiliar that it made my heart ache. Mom. Mom. I was stunned. And then my eyes became hot. Yes. Mom. Yes. Mom. Yes. Mom. Yes. Heading till so wide session. I'm here. Noah started to cry. Like a real child. He finally dared to cry unrestrained lie in the face of unconditional love. Mom. Heading till so wide session. Mom. Mom. Noah called me over and over again. Like a baby bird waiting to be fed. I also responded to him over and over again. Each response earnest and heartfelt. He sobbed loudly, gasping for breath, and held my hand tightly. as if holding on to a dreamlike salvation. Mom. I love you so much. I love you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I also cried. And my tears were like the melting ice on the lake. It is said that God cannot be everywhere. So it created mothers. Given that there isn't much time left, I'll explain 3 things first. The first thing, Luna ran away. Victor coaxed Luna to go for an abortion. But Luna changed her mind and ran away with the baby at the last moment. Victor was so anxious that he cursed Luna's ancestors in the hospital. The scene was as ugly as it could be. And I wasn't surprised when I heard this news. The irresistible force of the novel is there. It's strange if the illegitimate child who plays an important role as a villain in the plot can be aborted. Don't worry. Mom. Noah, who was only 7 years old, patted me reassuringly and smiled in a rather eerie way. If he dares to provoke us, I'll make him regret being born in this world. Me. Since the future male lead has spoken. How dare I say anything? The second thing, Victor was thrown into the sea. What happened at the Battle of St. Wo meetup that day was finally spread. After my parents and younger brother in Hong Kong learned about it, they immediately rushed over, tied up Victor, and were about to throw him into the sea to vent my anger. But due to the irresistible force of the novel, Victor must glide until Noah reaches adulthood in the plot. So he was thrown into the sea, then floated up, thrown in again, and floated up again. After floating up and down several times, he was finally taken back to Hong Kong by my younger brother, who was engaged in scientific research to be used for human experiments. He was really redundant. This can be regarded as unlocking a new way to take revenge on a scumbag. The third thing, I'm feeling sleepy again. I sleep for longer and longer every day, and even the best doctors can do nothing about it. Still, it's because of the irresistible force of the plot. The 1-year time limit is almost up. I've lived quite freely this year. The only regret is probably that I can't accompany Noah for a longer journey. And Noah has grown a lot this year. But essentially he still lacks the ability to empathize. After sleeping for a whole day and night, I finally came up with a solution. Here's what. Son. In the future, before you deal with someone, first judge whether this person has a mother. If you think they do, and imagine whether their mother will be sad if you treat them like that. But if that person acts as if they don't have a mother, well, then don't be polite. Noah understood and remembered it. So that night I had a dream. I dreamed that Noah met and fell in love with the female lad. Their relationship was healthy and warm. There was no longer the tragedy of chasing his wife to the crematorium, but a happy ending. I woke up with a gratified smile and found that it was just dawning. Noah was lying beside my bed, hooking his little finger with mine, his face covered in tears. I looked at his sleeping face softly and suddenly remembered that a long time ago, he also broke into my world with his eyes closed like this. Such a small, pink little thing had actually tripped me up for my whole life. I couldn't help but sigh softly. Fortunately, there will always be someone who will ignite the fire in your heart. I don't know when Noah woke up. His eyes secreted tears because he wasn't used to the light. But he still stared at me persistently. Can't that person be Mom? I was stunned for a moment. Looked at the bright and sunny sky outside the window. And finally smiled and rubbed his head. Your own story is about to begin. Mom's magic disappeared. Mom only exists in the past. I closed my eyes and felt like I had a really long dream. In the dream, the lake froze and then melted, and the clouds in the sky rolled up and then unfurled. Finally, heading so filled my eye. I dreamed that I turned into a small red fish. And when I opened my eyes again, I was no one's wife or mother. If my life is still a novel, then I can only be myself. Is that okay? The end.